Hi, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, where I have a bit of time today, so I'm going to try and record two videos. I'm going to do this puzzle which has come in from John. I'm not sure where John is from, I can't tell from his email address, but John says this is not a very difficult puzzle, but a very elegant puzzle, so that sounds intriguing to me, so we'll take a look at that. And the other video I want to record is the solve of the Times crossword, so those of you who enjoy the crosswords might look out for that. The reason I want to do the crossword is that the snitch rating, which is the rating of hardness for the Times crossword today, is off the scale. So that's going to be rather monstrous, I suspect. Now, for that reason, I'm going to do the Sudoku first, because hopefully this will be light relief in comparison. So, where would we start with this puzzle? Well, let's look at sevens. 7, 7 here on this bottom 3x3 block would allow us to pencil mark sevens into one of those two squares. Again, this is what I recommend, is that in 3x3 blocks, if you lock a number into exactly two positions, make little pencil marks to keep track of that, because it allows you to do things like, look, there's twos as well. How do twos interact? And immediately, straight away, we find a 2-7 pair in this 3x3 block. And for those of you who are new to the channel or who are new to pencil marking and haven't thought about this, hopefully it's clear that once you pencil mark the same numbers into two different squares like this, it's no longer possible for any other digit to appear in either of these squares. You know, if I try and put a 3 in this square, the implication of the... Oh, go away. Sorry. The implication of a 3 being here is that we must put a 2 and a 7 in this square. Clearly impossible. So actually, we now know that these two squares are 2 and 7 in some order, and we have to try and use that fact during the solve, although I can't immediately see how to use it now. But I can see that we've got 8s in the central columns and this 8 here over on the right. So in this block, we can only put an 8 at the top. Again, let's make our pencil marks. 5s. We have a 5 here and a 5 here. So where can a 5 go in this block? Well, only in one of those two squares, so we can pencil mark that in. And look at the 5s in this block now. The 5s being over here in column 7, and this 5 here means there's a 5 in one of these two squares, but over on the left, one of those options is ruled out. This is a 5. And that means because of the 5 up here, this is a 5. And the 5 over here means this is a 5. So this 5, and this 5 are interacting. And in fact, we're going to finish all the 5s, aren't we now? Because the 5s here interact with this 5 to place a 5 there. Now these 5s interact with this 5 to place a 5 here. And this all comes full circle. So this started from pencil marking these two 5s in, but the consequence of penciling the 5s in up here was that we actually completely resolved the 5s, and we came all the way back and were able to resolve the first pencil mark. So that's quite sweet. And in fact, look, 4s, this 4 and this 4. There's only one place we can put a 4 in this block now, and that gives us a 4 down here. And okay, no, I was thinking we might be able to continue on that trail, but I can't quite see how to do that. 4s, 5s, 9s. The 1 here is a little more interesting than it was. Actually, weirdly, I've just noticed there's only one 1 in the grid, and there's no 3s at all in the grid. But in this block now, we can place the 1s in those two places. Can't go further than that though. So what can we do next? 8. Look, 8 here and 8 here. So there's an 8 in one of those two cells. And now because of the 8 down in row 9, where can we put an 8 in this block? Well, only in this square. And this is good. This shows us again the power of the pencil marks. These two 8s now, if we hadn't got this 2-7 pair identified, we'd have pencil marked 8s into these two squares, because there are no 8s in columns 1, 2 and 3 to disambiguate the 8s in this square. But because we've got the 2 7s, we know we cannot put an 8 here. That's impossible. So this must be the 8. And that means this is an 8. And we can pencil mark 8s on the left hand side. So we've got almost all the 8s. We've got 7 of the 9 8s all together. So what would we look for next? Oh yes, where can we put a 4 in column 2? We can't put one here because of this 4. This 4 means we can't put a 4 here, and this 4 means we can't put a 4 here, so there is a 4 there. And that interacts with this 4 on this 3 by 3 block. So 4, 4 and this 4 means this is a 4. 4 in one of these 2 squares. We can't go further than that. Or if we can, I'm not seeing how to. Oh yeah, we can. Look, 9s. 9 and 9. So where can we put a 9 in this block? Actually, only here. And that well, it does a few things actually. It takes up one of our 4 pencil marks, so this must be a 4 now. You can see now that allows us to pencil mark 4s into those positions. But also this 9, 9, 9, and this 9 means this is a 9 down here. And that means this is a 9. And that means this is a 9. Oh, I thought we were going to go even further then. Still good though, isn't it? It is good because 9, 9 and this 9 means this is a 9 too. So this square must be a 9. So all of a sudden we've got quite a lot of this done. So what now? Right, I see. Okay, well this is nice. Now sometimes when you're doing Sudoku, it's very important not just to keep track of what digits you can see in the grid, but the spaces that exist in the grid. So if we look at the central 3 by 3 now, you can see that we've got 3 spaces along row 5. Now obviously, none of these spaces can contain 4, 5, 6, 8 or 9 anymore because they are already appearing in the block. So have a think about that in the context of row 5 and you should be able to see something rather nice. And if we look, I'll talk about it now. So if we look at how these squares interact with column 9 here, you can see we still need to place a 6 and an 8 in row 5. And we have a 6 and an 8 already placed in column 9. So in fact there's only 2 positions left that the 6 and 8 can go into in row 5, and that's this square and this square. Now, what does that mean? I'm sure that's going to be helpful. I'm just now this 7 becomes all of a sudden very potent because we can't put a 7 here. So we know there will be a 7 in one of these 3 squares. We don't know which one yet, but there is a 7 in one of these 3 squares. And again, now let's think about the implications of this for these central rows. See if you can spot something rather beautiful. Where can a 7 go in row 4? And the answer is there can't be a 7 here because of this 7. And there can't be a 7 here because of these pencil marked 7s. So actually the 7s are locked into these 2 positions. So we've now got a situation where 7s are in one of these 2 squares. We know that this is a 6-8 pair, and therefore this is a 7-8 pair up here, because the 8s are going to always be on the diagonals here. If this is an 8, the implication is this is an 8. If this is an 8, the implication this is an 8. So all of a sudden, we must now be close to getting our next digit, I think. So we need to put 1, 2, and 3 into the open positions. 2, 3. So what am I missing here? Where can a 2 go? Well, the 2 can't go in either of these two squares. This is the 2. Now that means this is a 1, 3 pair here. Where can a 2 now go? Over on the right hand side? Well, only into this square. Can we do anything more? Now I've got 1, 3 and 7 into the middle. I'll just pencil mark that in fully because otherwise it's very easy to lose track of that. 9, 9, 9. We've used the 1 already. There must be a 1 and a 3 down here, so we can pencil mark the 1s into those two squares. This is a 1 and a 3 pair. And what is the next breakthrough? No, I thought this 1, look, so that's going to give us 1s pencil marked into those two squares. That means there's no 1 here. 3, 1, 3, 6. Well, maybe it's 6, 7, 8 into these 3 squares, look. So is that going to be the breakthrough? Yes, it is. So the fact that there is a 6 in one of these two positions here, in fact we can pencil mark 6 and 7 into these two squares. Where can a 6 now go up here because of this 6? Only in this square. Two and 3. The 2 here, so there must be a 2 in one of those two squares. 2s, these two 2s in the centre. Force a 2 into this square. Unwinding our pencil marks gives us a 4 and a 6 as well. This 4 unwinds the pencil marks at the bottom. This 6 is now forced here by the 6 here and the 6 in this square. There must be a 6 in one of these two positions, because there can't be a 6 here anymore. And now where can we put a 6 in this block? Well, we know there's a 6 in one of these two squares, so only in this particular position here. So this now is a 1, 3 pair over on the left hand side. 3, 2 now, we unwind the 2s there. This is a 1, 3 pair as well. 2s into one of those two positions. We still need 3 and 7. 7s must resolve, surely, yes. So where can we put a 7 in this block? We have a 7 here and a 7 here. So that allows us to do that. Now you'll immediately spot we've now got the 2s and the 7s pencil marked into two different squares here. So this can no longer be a 1. This must be a 1. That resolves these 1s at the bottom. This must be a 3 now. It's the only place a 3 can go. And everything is now going to, I think, unwind, because we can now go 3 and 1 like this, 3 and 1 like that, 1 and 3 like that. You can see, or hopefully you can see, the power of these pencil marks. Once you get a bit of traction in the grid, you can really motor in the final stages of a puzzle. So 3s and 7s can be pencil marked into those two squares. Let's have a look and see whether we can resolve the centre now. 1, 1, 1, 7, 2, 3 and 6 into this block. What am I missing there? This square here allows us to pencil mark 3s into those two squares. So this square, obviously that's a 3. 6, 7 and 8 into this square. But we have the 8s. So this is a 6 or a 7. Where can a 1 go? Only there, which means this is a 1. 3 sevens into this square, which means finally we break the puzzle open. 7, 8, 6. I'll try and go a bit fast here to show you how powerful these pencil marks can be if you, you actually get some traction towards the end of a puzzle. You can literally zip through it because you don't have to think anymore. You've done the thinking. The thinking is what gave you the pencil marks in the first place. The rest of it is just unwinding your earlier logic. And that's one of the reasons that this pencil mark method is used by most of the world's best Sudoku solvers, is because it allows for very quick chaining towards the end of a puzzle. So I hope you enjoyed that. I went a bit more slowly today, just to really emphasize how to solve Sudoku for those of you relatively new to the channel. But I have to say, I do hope that you had a go at that puzzle before I did, because that was a really, really lovely Sudoku. So thank you, John, for sending it in. If you enjoyed the content, please subscribe. If you enjoyed Times Crosswords, watch this space, because I'm about to try one.